Many in the media are accusing former President Trump's campaign of sharing a video that they say contains Nazi imagery. Is that fair? Let's watch the ad.
What happens after Donald Trump wins? What's for America? The economy booms. American energy is unleashed and an end to crushing taxes. The border is closed and the largest deportation in history is underway. No more wars as we focus on home. Law and order is restored. The American dream is back and the best is yet to come. Make America great again.
Now, in case you missed it, blurred text appears beneath the newspaper headline that reads, quote, "Industrial strength significantly increased, driven by the creation of a unified Reich." Here was how the video was described on ABC.
Former President Donald Trump sparking backlash this morning after a video posted to his social media account seemingly suggests there will be a unified Reich if he wins the 2024 election.
Donald Trump wins. What's next for America?
Those words are largely associated with Nazi Germany and Adolf Hitler's Third Reich, another name for his Nazi regime. The 30-second video features hypothetical newspaper articles of Trump celebrating a victory in November. That phrase appearing 3 times, including under the headline, "What's next for America?" It includes references to World War I, citing German industrial strength and peace through strength. Another headline suggesting Trump would reject globalists, a phrase often used by the far right as an anti-Semitic slur.
Now, the video was widely criticized online, including by the Biden campaign, who wrote on X, quote, "Trump posts a new ad foreshadowing a second Trump term that says he will create a unified Reich, echoing Nazi Germany." They also released a statement saying, quote, "He is telling America exactly what he intends to do if he regains power, rule as a dictator over a unified Reich."
A Trump campaign spokesperson responded to the criticism saying, quote, "This was not a campaign video. It was created by a random account online and reposted by a staffer who clearly did not see the word while the president was in court." Now, the post was deleted Tuesday morning, and some accounts on X have since pointed out some interesting details, including that the person who made the video had downloaded a pre-made World War I newspaper headline template. The Biden campaign wasn't satisfied with the Trump campaign's explanation and responded on X, saying this morning with a clip of Trump writing, quote, "Trump's press secretary claims Trump's ad calling for a unified Reich was posted by a random unknown staffer. Here is Trump saying that only he and his top right-hand man, Dan Scavino, have access to posts on his social media accounts." Okay, I think this is a huge nothing burger.
Tell me why.
Look, this is, first of all, yes, this was some random person. The ad is using like a newspaper template that anyone could have access to. It's not like, that's not the point of the newspaper. It's not like Trump pointing to the unified Reich and saying that that's what we're going to create. Actually, the newspaper template, if the information I'm seeing is accurate, it's a World War I headline. Reich actually means just like empire in German. The First Reich is the Holy Roman Empire. The Second Reich is the German state under Kaiser Wilhelm. The Third Reich is the really bad one, is the Hitlers and Nazi, etc. So this isn't even referencing that same right. Like, that's just saying, like, what the headline is referencing is, you know, the German military coming together, not even in the Nazi conflict, in the
Kind of
World
like
War I
Intifada
conflict.
meaning uprising?
Sure, there you go. There you go. Well, look, and maybe it was a bad idea, like it is in those cases, to use it, but it wasn't like used intentionally. It's just in the newspaper they used as their newspaper background. Now, like, this is not a big, I just don't think this is a big deal. Liberals and Democrats and media people are losing it over this. Am I wrong about that? Social media is like, haha, we've finally done the Pepe Silvio, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia meme, and we've done all the connections, and we've proved Trump is a Nazi Hitler fanatic, and that's what we set out to do.
Yeah, I think the reaction is pretty big, and that's why Trump ultimately chose to delete this ad. You're also seeing these kind of layers of distancing, saying, well, it was an unknown staffer who posted it, even though, you know, per the quote you just read, Trump has previously said that only his, you know, right-hand man has and himself have access to these social media accounts.
I think they went to that defense too quickly. They could have gone to the defense of, actually, it's fine because it's not referencing that and it's stupid.
Right, and I do think the kind of pro forma template argument that this is based. They're trying to get an old-timey newspaper look. They used newspapers from World War I. It uses the word Reich, but not in the context of the Third Reich, which is the one that we're really concerned about. This is bad optics, but it doesn't really mean anything. I think all of that is perfectly fair. But I do think it's worth noting that the reason why a story like this gets so much traction is in part because there have been a number of other kind of instances of Trump seeming to court a more fringe right-wing as a cohort of the American public, whether it's having dinner with self-described white supremacist Nick Fuentes, whether it was in the wake of Charlottesville saying there were very fine people on both sides, when there were Proud Boys marching saying that depending on how you heard it, you will not replace us or the Jews will not replace us. I mean, there is a reason why stories like this stick to Donald Trump and have legs in a way they wouldn't to some random other Republican or some random Democrat if they were to make a similar kind of mistake.
Sure. Trump bad, but it's interesting to me what kind of things get corrected in the media. Like right now, I'm seeing high-profile Twitter account after high-profile Twitter account on the Democratic side, Biden-Harris headquarters account. This isn't officially with the campaign at all, but it's an account that has like 300,000 followers saying, Trump in this ad is calling for a unified Reich. Like that's not even what that phrase appears in the background of a newspaper. Like it's not. That's just not true. That's not what the ad says. It's not. That's not the headline that pops up with Trump saying that's what I'm going to do. Like it's totally mischaracterizing the ad, and I'm seeing that over and over and over and over again on social media. Are there going to be any fact checkers? Are there going to be any misinformation people, swooping in with their little alarms going off and going woo woo? That's not actually what the ad says. Of course not.
Yeah,
that makes conservatives very upset.
I would argue that it also doesn't especially help Democrats. I mean, I was listening to PodSave in America podcast on my way to work this morning, and they were talking about a speech that Trump recently gave at the NRA convention, and they were complaining that Democrats, frankly, in line with what you're saying, focus on some kind of superficial alarmist stuff instead of talking about the substantive things that Trump says he's going to pursue if he's president again. He was joking about having a 3-term presidency at this thing. He was talking about undermining the one substantive piece of gun legislation that's been passed in the last 20 years or so that was very bipartisan, which both sides really like, that just asked for things like red flag laws and not allowing criminals to buy guns. And why are so many Democrats failing to make the pitch that says, you wanted common sense gun reform, you got it under Biden, but Trump wants to undo it. You think that we should have a democracy and you only get 2 terms as president. Donald Trump's joking about being another FDR and not in a good way. Why does it seem like there's so much of a focus on stories like this that are not just substanceless, but are kind of largely just not real and are misrepresenting the intention of an underlying ad instead of the real things that Donald Trump says he's going to do? And I think the answer to that is, it's easy.
Yes, it's hard to persuade people. It's easy to say, it's like some magic solution. This reminds me so much, do you remember the OK sign thing? Where all these iconography media experts saying, that person made the OK sign, so that's their secret Nazi, Again, no normal person associates those two things. So the vast majority of people doing that are not trying to make some secret Nazi code. I mean, the people who are supposed to be fact-checking or correcting or calling out the conspiracy theorists end up sounding like conspiracy theorists themselves half the time because they're so obsessed with this stuff. Yeah,
I mean, I think that is true. I also think that it's true that like the HH88 thing where double 8s mean Heil Hitler. There have been times when 8s just turn up. I know it's your birthday.
I got a lot of 8s in my various screen names for things because my birth date is 8/8/88.
Yeah, but it is also true that people
Not
do use
that. Not because I'm a white nationalist, but because that was the day I was born.
Yes, I know. Right? But that's the point. Sometimes it is a coincidence, and sometimes there are people who actively deploy that symbol or the symbology, and the plausible deniability of it all is why it's such a fun and cheeky symbol for white nationalists. And you can't entirely blame people for being on guard, especially in a time that we live in, given, all of the tempers and discourse around Israel and anti-Semitism and these protests and all of the things. You can't blame people for being hyper-vigilant at a time like this, especially when you have a candidate like Trump who has courted, and I cannot emphasize this enough, chosen to have dinner with someone who's an avowed white supremacist.
than the Kanye dinner. Is that what you mean?
Well, that too, but I was talking about Nick Fuentes.
Right, who I think he attended the dinner. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Trump's defense of that is that he invited Kanye. He did not know that he was going to be bringing Nick Fuentes. He didn't know who Nick Fuentes is, and I actually did, rare for Trump, say that he would not. I think he did not apologize for that, but said he would not have had dinner with Nick Fuentes if he had known. So there you have it. We actually have another one of these stories-ish to get to today involving Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito. Stay tuned for more.